we want to take you back to an earlier story to do with the IMF's engagement with Ghana. We expect a team in the country today for negotiations to start tomorrow. Joining me with a look ahead to that is Professor John Gache, who is Dean of the University of Ghana, University of Cape Coast Business School. Thanks for your time this afternoon, sir. We understand we want to start with preparations on the part of Ghana ahead of tomorrow's negotiations. We understand government is finalizing economic data, which it would present to the IMF. Just by way of education, what information would that data capture?
In that information will capture data on the macro-fiscal situation of the country. It will capture data on our external development, and perhaps that data will make debt issues very clear. It will also capture revenue, capture issues relating to the growth. So basically data from the revenue authorities, data from Fiscal Service, data from Bank of Ghana are prominent in what they are doing.
And for now, we do not know what package the government would decide on. What should be top on the consideration for a package as the negotiations begin?
Well, I believe the nature of the data would determine the package that may be prescribed at the end of the negotiation. In my opinion, largely, fiscal issues are the main problem, and they have a contagion effect into the workings of monetary policy authorities' activities. We have right now fiscal dominance, as the Bank of Ghana is persuaded to finance a lot of activities of the government beyond the regulatory requirement. It is largely because of debt management issues. It's largely because of fiscal management issues. So I think issues like debt restructuring requirement or balance of payment support issues will be the key discussions as to the program choice for Ghana.
And we're also getting indication that the government may seek $3 billion from the fund to shore up our reserves. Makes sense? Does it make sense?
Well, I am aware that the government may be looking to around $3.5 billion to $5 billion. As to whether the $3 billion or so that they are looking for is what the new data will show, I can't talk about that. But clearly, before the discussion to enter the IMF engagement, I think $5 billion is what was on the table.
And there are suggestions that some social intervention programs should be reviewed. For instance, free SHS. What's your stance on that?
Well, I think if you look at the engagement with the IMF from 2001 up to the recent one, IMF activities tend to favor social intervention programs. If those social intervention programs are to be talked about, then that will be the nature of financing of the of those social intervention programs, and not the propriety of those social intervention programs. So if the government is not financing it properly, perhaps that is what will be looked at, and not the appropriateness of the social intervention programs.
Well, the government in the statement put out today said they were not going to, free SHS was not going to be affected. But I also pointed out that it was not going to scrap the E-Levy, although it is seeking IMF support. And, well, people don't think it is necessary for the government to continue to charge E-Levy. Once he's made the point that it was the reason it is seeking the IMF support because it was not successful.
Well, I think the discussion or the negotiation has not concluded, has not started. So I do not think the government will stick out its neck to say A, B, C, D will not happen.
Well, there's a statement to that effect which came out today. It said E-Levy is still going to be charged.
Well, I think the release is in response to people who are calling on government to stop collecting the E-Levy because government use the E-Levy as and then going to IMF as a mutually exclusive situation. That if you choose IMF, then you will not charge E-Levy. If you choose E-Levy, then you will not go to IMF. I believe that is what the public is calling for, and the government decided to respond. But I don't think that is a huge issue. The main issue is that which program are we going to settle on for how many years, and what will be the effect on the structures within the economy, what will be the effect on labor, what will be the effect on the people's livelihood. I believe that is the key issue we are discussing. Of course, we should also not be surprised that as part of the engagement to focus on enhancing revenue, the toll levies may return. Nobody can say that for sure now. It is also possible that some of the tax measures in our budget, which we have not been able to collect, may be pressed. For example, property tax may become a target area for new revenue under an IMF program, especially when we ourselves have identified property tax in our budget, but we are having it difficult to implement.
And that's what organized labor is concerned about, that the cost of living is going to really go high as a result of this. They have called this decision to seek support from the IMF a tragic mistake. You think so?
Well, I don't think that is the case. Of course, the organized labor is right because they have had experiences of previous IMF program that have some significant effect on labor negatively. So they are right in raising those issues. But I do not think the decision to go to IMF may be considered to be most tragic decision because it has its own positive impact on economic management. Government currently doesn't have policy credibility. Government doesn't have what it takes to attract people and confidence in our economy. That is what government is seeking to restore. And that restoration of confidence and credibility has huge positive implication for economic management. And that is a positive side.
All right. Thank you so much for your thoughts this afternoon, Professor John Gachi, the Dean of the University of Cape Coast Business School. I appreciate your thoughts. We'll be monitoring those negotiations as they begin tomorrow, and certainly we'll have a discussion in the coming days.